Hello students. So students, in the previous class in this chapter, that is the fundamental unit of life, cell, we have already discussed about that of the plasma membrane, and in the plasma membrane we have seen the structure and we were talking about the function of the plasma membrane. When we talk about the function of the plasma membrane, the thing which we have seen here students, and that is basically plasma membrane used to perform the two type of methods, and that is diffusion and osmosis. In the process of a diffusion, we have seen that the particles, they used to move from a higher concentration to lower concentration, and while movement of this higher to that of the lower concentration, you see that they used to move from the higher to that of the lower one, that is diffusion. So this diffusion process occur in the gases, in the solid as well as in the liquid. While we have seen another kind of a process in which the material used to move from one side to another, and that is osmosis. In the process of osmosis, students, what we have seen that basically the particles are what they used to move from higher concentration to lower concentration. But here the concentration, if we talk, so that is this movement of the particles occur from the higher to the lower concentration occur with the help of a semi-permeable membrane. Okay, so a membrane is there through which the particles used to move from higher to that of the lower concentration. So this happened in case of a osmosis. Even we have seen students that what are the different chances, what happen when we put the cell into a solution which is hypertonic, which is isotonic, and which is hypertonic. Okay, so these three solutions we have seen, and when we kept the cell in the solution, what will going to be means how the cell will going to be affected, already we have seen in the process of osmosis. Now you see students, we have seen a mediated transport and facilitated transport, active transport also. So facilitated is what, in which, mediated is in which the particles, they have to go inside to that of the plasma membrane and they are not able to go, so there are some of the protein like that of a transport protein is there, which we call as a permease, and this permease will help the molecules to go inside to that of the plasma membrane. So this is about that how we are providing a medium to the particles so that they can move from one end to the other end of the plasma membrane. So this is the first one, that is the mediated transport. The second thing is the facilitated transport. In case of a facilitated transport, here there is no requirement of energy. It means simply the particles can go from a higher to that of the lower concentration. But what happened in case of a active transport, since due to the movement of the particle occur against the concentration gradient, that is the movement of the particle occur from the lower concentration to higher concentration. Thus there is need of energy, and this energy will be given by the cell in the form of ATP. Okay, so the molecules, they used to combine with the ATP. Now ATP used to provide the energy so that they can move from a lower concentration to higher concentration, which is against to that of the concentration gradient. Okay, and since there is a requirement of a energy, we call this kind of a transport is as an active transport. I hope you all have understood that what is passive transport and what is active transport. Now moving on and see the next topic, and the next topic is students, that is endocytosis and exocytosis. You see, if we talk about the endocytosis, endo means inside, okay, and exo means outside. Cytosis means which is related to the cell. So we can say that the process by which we make the molecules to go inside to that of the cell membrane, that process is known as the endocytosis. Basically what happened here students, that any of the particle can be a liquid or can be or a solid particle. So when it have to enter into that of the cell membrane, then first of all it will comes to that of the cell membrane, means to the layer of the outer wall of the cell membrane, and there is a formation of a depression to that of the plasma membrane, and due to which this depression will form, and the food particle or that of the liquid particle will engulf into that of the depression, and finally there is a formation of a wall, and in the form of a vesicle, can be a water can be a vesicle simply, or can be a food vesicle. So in the form of a vesicle, it used to come inside to the cell, and from the cell it will reaches to their particular target. This is the first thing. Okay, so this process is what in which we can say the molecules used to go inside. Now here this endocytosis is also divided into two, and that is phagocytosis and pinocytosis. So whenever this question is asked that what do you understand by phagocytosis, students? So you will write that phagocytosis is the endocytosis is a type of endocytosis in which the food particle is allowed to come. So when a food particle comes inside to that of the cell membrane, we will instead of using the endocytosis, which is an endocytosis, we can use the phagocytosis. What about in case of a pinocytosis? So in case of a pinocytosis, we can say that the liquid material is allowed to come inside to that of the cell membrane. So this is the difference between that of the phago and the pinocytosis. Okay. So let us write it that what are the things are there in case of a endo and the exocytosis. So the first thing is here, that is cell membrane is flexible. Why we are writing this sentence, students? Let me tell you about it. So you see that we are writing this because you see that the plasma membrane or the cell membrane is flexible. So having the flexibility, it will make the food particle, it will make the particles to be engulfed easily. It will form the depression. So the engulfing of the particle will occur only if the plasma membrane is flexible. So flexibility will help in engulfing the food particles in it. So we can write it that flexible, which enables the cell to engulf food particles and other material. From external environment. Okay, so the cell membrane is flexible, which makes the food particle to enter into that of the into the cell, and finally it will also help in taking the other material also that is coming from the external environment. And this process of engulfing the food material or the other material into the cell membrane is called endocytosis. Okay, so this process of intake of materials through plasma membrane is called endocytosis. Okay, So this process of intake of a material through plasma membrane is called endocytosis. Now you see students that this endocytosis is also of two types. So I hope you have understood the concept of the endocytosis, that is engulfing of the food material into the cell membrane or with the help of the cell membrane from an external environment. This process of taking, or you can say this process of engulfing the food material inside, that is called as endocytosis. So inside, that is why the name is endocytosis. Now this endocytosis is also divided into two, and that is phagocytosis and pinocytosis. So first of all, I will going to write about the phagocytosis. Okay. Phagocytosis is what, student? In which the food particles is in the form of a solid. Okay. So if a solid food particle is engulfed, we will call it as a phagocytosis. Okay. So if a solid food particle is engulfed, then we called it as a phagocytosis. We called it phagocytosis. Okay, we call it as a phagocytosis. Phagocytosis. And the same thing if we talk about the liquid material, that instead of the solid particle, if a liquid material is engulfed, okay, then we use a term for it, and that is called as pinocytosis. Okay, so the second one is pinocytosis. You see, student, in 1 marks this kind of a questions can be asked, that what is phago or what is a pinocytosis. So you will write that if a liquid particle is engulfed, then we called it pinocytosis. Okay, then we called it as a pinocytosis. So one is a phagocytosis and another is the pinocytosis. So this is all about that of the endocytosis. Ultimately, it will be a solid food particle or it will be a liquid. Always it will enter into inside that of the cell membrane, and we call it as a endocytosis. What happened in case of a exocytosis? Now the waste material and the other materials should also come outside to that of the cell membrane, and this process is known as a exocytosis. There also same thing happens, students. The waste material will be present in that of the vesicles, and it will come to the layer, to the outer layer of the to the inner layer of the plasma membrane, and when it come there, again it will get expelled out from that of the plasma membrane. Okay, and this process of expelling out the waste material or the material through that of the plasma membrane, that is known as the exocytosis. These two are very important, students, that many times this question is asked, that what do you understand by endo or exocytosis. Okay, now see. So, exocytosis is a process in which waste material is expelled out from the plasma membrane. Okay, waste material is expelled out from the plasma membrane. That is called as exocytosis. So this is all about that of the plasma membrane, student. So I hope you all have understood the structure, then you have understood the function also, and we have seen that how the particles will move from the one end to the other, either through the process of diffusion, either through the process of osmosis, either through the process of active or that of a passive transport, or with the help of any kind of a other material, presence of any other material, or through that of the endocytosis or exocytosis. So these are the some of the different functions of the plasma membrane. Now moving on, and let us see another type of or another part of the cell, and that is called as, students, cell wall. Now, you see that plasma membrane or cell membrane is common for every kind of a living organism. It means either it is a plant cell or that of the animal cell, plasma membrane is always present there and perform this certain function. But, especially in case of a plant cell, outside to that of the plasma membrane, there is another kind of a tough layer that is called as a cell wall. Now, when we talk about the discovery of the cell, student, we always say that it is Robert Hooke who saw the cell first, and he said that this small little room which is present in the thin slice of a cork, and he said he had given the name it to cell because it looks like a small rooms or a small compartment. So basically the first cell which was discovered by Robert Hooke, and the thing that he has seen under his microscope, it was nothing but it was the cell wall. Okay, so we can say that cell wall is first of all seen by the discoverer of the cell, and that is Robert Hooke. Now, one thing should be remember here, student, that the cell wall is a very tough one. So, absolutely, it will going to provide the protection to that of the plant. Okay, we will discuss about the function of the cell wall later on. Let me tell you here that cell wall, it is basically present in the plant cell, but it is absent in the animal cell. Okay, so so the first point that I will write about the cell wall is tough layer present outside the plasma membrane. Okay, so it is a tough layer which is present outside to that of the plasma membrane. Now, who has discovered this, students? So, we can say that it was first observed by Robert Hooke. First observed by Robert Hooke. Okay, Robert Hooke has discovered it in 1665. Then the next thing that we will see, student, that it is what? It is fully permeable. It means it will allow all, that is solute as well as the solvent molecules to pass through it. Okay, so we can say that cell wall is freely permeable. Freely permeable. Freely permeable. That is both solute and solvent can pass through it. Next one is, that is cell wall is absent in plant cell but present in animal. Okay, sorry students, it is absent in animal cell but present in plant cell. Just opposite one. Okay, so we can say it is absent in animal cell but present in plant cell. Okay. Okay, so these are the things students. Cell wall, it is a tough layer. Why it is a tough layer? Let me tell you that it is made up of cellulose. Okay, so it is made up of cellulose. Cellulose is a kind of a polysaccharide. Okay, so we can say that it is a polymer. Okay, so we can say it is a tough layer. Why it is a tough layer? Since it is made up of a cellulose, and when you look at it, that this tough layer is present basically it is present basically outside to that of the plasma membrane. Okay, I will tell you that what is the reason behind that it is present outside, means what is the role that it is present outside to that of the plasma membrane. And if you look that it was first of all observed by Robert Hooke, because Robert Hooke was the first person who saw the cell, and he saw actually the cell wall. Okay, because that was a dead cell, so only cell wall was left. So he was the first person who observed a cell wall. Now, when you look at the cell wall, student, when you find it that okay, we are knowing that cell membrane is a selectively permeable. What kind of a nature of a cell wall is there? So cell wall is a freely permeable, that it allow both solute as well as the solvent to pass through it. While if you look that cell wall, it is absent in that of the animal cell, but it is basically present in the plant cell. So this is a peculiar difference between that of the cell wall or the animal cell and the plant cell, that animal cell does not consisting of the cell wall, but the plant cell, they consisting of both plasma membrane as well as the cell wall. Okay, so this much all of you have understood, that what is the cell wall and how it get discovered, what are the things there, what kind of a nature is there. Let us see that what is the function. Okay. This is the second thing. And cell wall, whatever be the function, you will find that this function is basically performed in the plant cell only, not in the animal cell, because it is absent in that of the animal cell. Now we see, students, what is this the function of the cell wall. Functions. Okay, so we will start with the first point here. So basically, if it is present outside, so it helps in maintaining the shape of the cell. So the first thing that we will going to write about the cell wall, that it helps in maintaining the shape of the cell. It helps in maintaining the shape of the cell. Now, since it is present at the outer side, what is there in our means it help in, it act as a protection. Okay, like you see in the animal, students, the outer skeleton, it provides a protection, it provides the rigidity to that of the body. The same thing here, this cell wall is present outside, so it is like an exoskeleton which provides turgidity and rigidity to that of the cell. Okay, so we can write that cell wall represents a kind of exoskeleton. A kind of exoskeleton, and provides rigidity and mechanical strength and support to the cell, and mechanical strength support to the cell. Okay, so cell wall, it help in representing, or it you can say it represent the this outer skeleton. It act as a outer skeleton, so we will call it as act as a exoskeleton. And since it is an exoskeleton, so it help in providing the rigidity, it help in providing the mechanical strength to the cell. Next one, students, that so it help, see what happened that when you kept the cell in a hypotonic solution, so what we have seen that the outer medium consisting of a more amount of water, while the cell itself consisting of a less amount of water. So what happens there? So all the water from that of the medium starts moving from the medium inside to that of the cell. Okay, so ultimately the cell swells up and finally it bursts. But what happened if the cell wall will be there? So if cell wall will be there, so it help not to burst that of the cell. Okay, so it help in providing the turgidity and do not makes the cell to burst or prevent the bursting of the cell when it is kept in a hypotonic solution. Okay, so we can write it that cell wall helps the cell in preventing burst of cell. Okay, finally we can say that these cell wall also help in the absorption of the water. The cell walls are basically present in the, especially if the root cell is there. So you see that it is permeable. So it allow all the solute and the solvent particle to come inside. So absolutely, if it is present at the root cell, so what is the function of a root? So root help in absorbing the water. So the water reaches to the cell of the roots, and it is the cell wall which provide the freely permeability to that of the water, the solute and the solvent to enter in it. So we can say that cell wall, it help in the absorption of the water and minerals from the soil. So we can also write it that so we can say that cell wall in root cells helps in absorption of water and minerals. Okay, so absorption occur through it. Okay, so these are some of the function of the cell wall, students. So what is the first function that we have seen here? So the first function of the cell wall, that it help in providing the shape to the cell. The second one, that when you kept the cell in a hypotonic solution there or in the dilute solution, it help in maintaining the shape of the cell without bursting it, or help in preventing the burst of the cell, basically, which happens when you kept the cell in that of a hypotonic solution or in a dilute medium. Then the third one is in the case of a cell wall, that you see that if it is present in that of the root cell, so they basically help in the absorption of the minerals or that of the water which is present in it. Okay, now this cell wall is also there to maintain the turgidity as it is present outside, so help in providing the mechanical strength and support to the cell. Okay, so this is about the cell wall. In the next class, we will discuss about the nucleus.